Jen, thanks for joining me today. I'm
Yeah,
glad
thank
that you're
you.
being able to take some time and, we look at the ceiling behind you, and that's going to be part of our conversation today, uh,
Hmm.
just so that we can make sure everyone knows you're in Lewiston, Maine. And,
Yes,
yes, so Lewiston's had quite a year. Let's just say it that way.
we have, absolutely.
Yeah. So I met you a few years ago, and when there were certified trainers that came, well, they became certified trainers for Bridges Out of Poverty. But talk with me first about what has happened since that time and kind of your uh, the work in the Bridges world.
Yeah, so really exciting. Lewiston has had a Bridges Out of Poverty steering committee for many years now, but really through COVID, things had slowed down, and we really shifted gears to focusing on immediate needs. So as we were coming out of COVID, really at the beginning of 2023, we decided to reform and reinvigorate our Bridges Out of Poverty steering committee. So we have now been meeting as a committee for over a year, almost a year, I guess. We meet every single month, and we have been doing, lots of some individual trainings, small trainings in some of our local organizations, and really getting people excited about Bridges Out of Poverty. This past October, we also brought Ruth Wyrick in to do a session focused on the business community. We feel like we've gained some great ground with the nonprofit and the social service agencies, but really wanted to bring more of the business community in. So Ruth did a really great job of bringing the business community in, getting them excited, and getting us started on our 2024 plan. So we just actually had a Bridges Out of Poverty steering committee meeting where we worked on our future story of our community, and what do we see, and beginning with the end in mind. So we're really excited to kind of take those next steps.
Good. Thanks for the update.
Yeah,
So I had mentioned before that there's not much of a ceiling behind you, but that's because of a flood that happened in Lewiston.
it
So talk,
is.
yeah, talk about the location of the buildings and how the idea came about of continuing to serve your clients and especially your under-resourced clients.
Yeah, so Maine is not known for flooding. This was kind of a interesting summer that we had, and we had lots of flash floods that occurred. And one of the flash floods that took place actually caused a lot of flood damage to the location for Community Credit Union. In July, I got a phone call early in the morning and got down to the building and found that the drains in our parking lot had gotten clogged with debris with the heavy rainstorm, and it just caused the water to go right into the building. So it went through our upstairs, completely flooded the upstairs, and then went through the floor, through the ceilings downstairs, as you can see behind me, and completely flooded our downstairs. We had restoration services here pretty quickly, and when they showed up, they said, this is a lot of damage. You're looking at, probably $300,000 in damage. It's pretty extensive, and your building's going to be shut down for a couple of months. And, I was pretty shocked to hear that, because I kind of thought they'd come in with some shop vacs and clean it up. But when they said a couple of months, I said, okay, you start doing your thing, work on restoration. I need to work on operations. Our main branch for Community Credit Union sits in the second poorest census tract in the state of Maine, and we're bordered by the first and third poorest census tracts. And so we really serve the underserved. And from a Bridges Out of Poverty perspective, the underserved are individuals that are under-resourced most of the time. And so we knew by, the location that we serve and the membership that we serve, that we needed to do something. We do have other branches, but our closest branch is about 2 miles away. Our members can access what's called shared branching, but that also means that members have to get to another location. And a lot of our members walk to us. They don't have means of transportation, and we didn't want our members to have to use their valuable resources like money to access public transportation. So we knew we had to act quickly. It was the end of the month. We had a few days before the first of the month, which we serve a lot of members that receive Social Security deposits. And so we knew we needed to be up and running in some capacity to serve our members before the first of the month. So I had started making some phone calls to see if I could rent a trailer. and I was striking out, or they were saying, we can get you a trailer in a month or two. And that just that didn't work for us. I called a credit union that's further up north here in Maine, and they have a mobile RV that they take to fairs, and they really just use it to talk to people. They don't really use it for transactions. But I called that credit union and said, I really need your support right now. Can I borrow your RV? And they said, sure. And so by the end of the day, we had this big RV sitting in our parking lot. And then we had to figure out, okay, how are we going to serve members out of this? We had to figure out handicap accessibility, because we also serve a lot of individuals that have different handicaps and they need handicap accessibility. And so we pulled a bunch of our vendor partners in, and within a few days, we had the RV open for business, and we were doing any type of teller transaction. We were giving cash out through the RV, through the windows of the RV. We had staging set up, so we had ramps and staircases and everything to make it handicap accessible. And, we had to work really hard, but we knew it was super important and super crucial to be able to serve our members so they didn't have to go elsewhere.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So you had to work out security. You had to work out, how to do the transactions.
Yeah.
All of those things.
Yeah. So we ended up bringing in what's called a cash recycler, which is like a small ATM. We put that in the RV, had to make sure the weight restrictions worked for the RV. So there were a lot of things to work around. And that made it safe for our staff to be in the RV. But we also did have to set up security. So we had to get an alarm panel. We had the police department here on several occasions. The first and the third, a lot of people are coming and they're taking out, their full cash. They're taking out $800 to $1,500 in cash. And so we wanted to make sure that people felt comfortable and safe doing that, what they're doing their transaction from outside in our parking lot. So we had the police department here on our busier days to make sure that people felt safe, and just really worked through every transaction with our members to make it as smooth as we possibly could.
Oh my goodness. So what kind of reaction did you have from the clients, the people that you were serving?
Well, so I think initially when because we were shut down for a few days, initially people were really stressed out and concerned, especially those individuals that do come to us on foot, or depend on us to access their Social Security deposits. They were really stressed out about it, and they started making phone calls to us. We worked with the local news station and got a news story out there so that people knew that we were working on a solution. And we communicated with our members on a regular basis to let them know that we were working on getting an RV unit set up, and we would be open by the first of the month to be able to serve them. So it took a lot of communication, a lot of hands on deck. And ultimately, it wasn't the ideal situation for anybody, but our members were super thankful that we were able to find a solution for them. We were able to find a way to serve them. So they didn't have to go to another credit union. They didn't have to use their resources to be able to, go a couple of miles down the road to get to one of our other locations. So I think overall, people were super thankful and super happy that we were able to get a solution up and get a solution up so quickly.
Right. It strikes me as you're talking that there are two things that happened here that we always talk about in Bridges. And one is collaboration, which obviously you had, and the other is social capital. And those two pieces, it sounds like, really came together for this project.
Yeah, we are super fortunate to have some really great, I always call them vendors, and now I call them partners from this situation, actually. So we are super fortunate to have some really great partners that came together and made things happen for us. To be able to call another credit union that day, have their RV in our parking lot, was just incredible. And, the individuals that work on our ATMs, they were underneath the RV, helping us level it out, helping us get things set up. And so people were doing things outside of the scope of what they normally would do. And, here we are 5 months later, and you can see we still don't have ceiling tiles, but we were also super fortunate to be able to get contractors on site right away. We really pride ourselves on having relationships with people. We really have built our credit union on relationships, on the foundation of relationships. And so we were super fortunate that people just came and they showed up and they did what we needed to do to make things happen.
So how long did you have to use the trailer?
We were in the RV for about 3 months, which again was not ideal for anybody. And, once we really got into August, it was starting to get really hot in there. The AC actually broke down on us a few times. So we had to like rig an AC up and get fans going. But as soon as they got the upstairs of the building open, we were able to transition back into the building and have the upstairs open. So what you're seeing now is the downstairs. I'm working downstairs. So the downstairs is still under construction. We're hoping to be wrapped up in the next week or so. But yeah, it's been a process.
Wow. Again, we're always blown away by the creativity that we're hearing about and we learn about in different communities, especially once those bridges out of poverty constructs are understood and used. And so, what a great story. I'm so glad that you were able to share that with us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Good. Any last comments? Anything that you would say to others in a community that find themselves under maybe some duress like you were quickly overnight? Things changed for you overnight.
Yeah, I think that it's just keep an open mind and be as creative as you can, and don't ever underestimate the value of your social capital. We just picked up the phone and started calling people, and they showed up, and that's exactly what we needed at that moment. And we had to be really creative. It wasn't business as usual. We had to think outside of the box. But we know our membership, we know the people that we serve, and we knew that just being shut down for a few months was not a good option, and it wasn't a healthy option for our members. So we really went into action right away and knew we had to get creative and knew we had to do something completely different from anything we'd ever even talked about doing.
Yeah, thinking outside of the box. Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for explaining what's been going on and for the positive update as you move forward. And, hopefully 2024 in Lewiston, Maine will be a calmer year with a lot of positive things happening.
Yes, I hope so too.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lynn. Appreciate your time.